I'm bored. Let's talk about the hit piece articles on Disney and the grown men who gossip about it. All right, so I talked about this in detail on the stream last night, but I want to talk a little bit more about it here today with you guys. So if you didn't see, Variety released what is obviously a hit piece article on Disney, where they're using unnamed insiders to create some narrative that Disney is struggling when it comes to connecting with young men in the Gen Z demographic. If you read the headline and you don't read the article, you're going to see that and you're going to go, that's crazy. It sucks that they're just now knowing this. They should have always known it because now it's a girl brand, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. We're going to go over all of that in this video, okay? But let's start out talking about Nerdrotic, because Nerdrotic is the top of the tree with these guys. Everybody else are branches on the Nerdrotic tree when it comes to all of these anti-fandom topics. And he says, Disney made male fans the enemy and now they want them back. This is, for lack of a better term, it's like indoctrination. It's social conditioning. He's convinced the people that watch his content that the studios see them as enemies, not customers, not fans, but enemies. This is the way they framed it for years. The brain rot is permeated. So using that term, he is speaking directly to the people in his audience that has been brainwashed into believing that they're the enemies of the studio. So that's who that's for. And now they want them back. This is, again, talking about the title of the article and the framing of the article on social media. Marvel and Star Wars committed Mary Sue side, being very careful about that because of YouTube's policies. The toxic fans were right. Actually, they weren't. They were not right. But let's take a look at what the article actually said about this, because they would have you believe that it is specifically Gen Z men that they're looking to pick up based on the title of the article. But if you read through the article long enough, you get to this one little portion that explains that that's not actually what's happening and that the article is a sensational hit piece against Disney. Now, love or hate Disney, I'm not the biggest fan of Disney's policies and how they treat their artists and entertainment, stuff like that. So I'm not here. This is not me going to bat for Disney. I just think we need to be very clear that when stuff like this happens, it is important to look at everything in front of you, all of the context. So here it says, a Disney source, this is the source they use in this article from Variety here, says that movies for Gen Z men are part of an overall strategy across all labels, but no more urgent than any other quadrant. Let me read that to you again. This is the article they're pulling from. A Disney uncorroborated, unnamed source, so we don't know if it's true because Disney's not even said anything about this. There's no quotes in the article from Disney anywhere. This is all speculation and hearsay. It says that movies for Gen Z men are part of an overall strategy across all labels, but no more urgent than any other quadrant. So if you go over here and you look back at the tweet from Nerdrotic and the video that's being shared, you will see that that is not what's being represented here. They're using the headline. This is the headline from the article. And this is what makes the article a hit piece, because the headline is misrepresenting some of the context within the article, within their own article, within their own statements, right? And then we have some other stuff here in reference to the article. John here says, Disney bought 2 IPs that were male skewing specifically because their IP library was more female oriented. Then they proceeded to try and turn them into girl brands. I will never understand it. The girl brand bullshit that Chris Gore pushed. I believe Chris Gore is the person that pushed this. Dumb shit. Dumb shit from dumb fucks, right? If you look at the percentages, Star Wars has, I think it's in the 40% range, 40% of all of their properties, all of them. That includes animated, TV shows, movies, novels, across all of them. Star Wars is roughly in the 40% range. I think last time I checked it was a little bit over 40%. That's not turning them to girl brands. So 40% of Star Wars properties include women as a lead or a secondary lead character. That's not turning into a girl brand. Besides the fact that, are we saying that stuff with women and leads are intrinsically for women? So does that mean that everything with the male lead is just for men? Because that's really what it comes down to. It's like gendering entertainment. Male lead, it's made for men. Female-led, made for women. It's confirming gender binaries and then segregating them off. Saying that brand, if a woman is the lead character, then it must be for women, I guess. Because that's what they call it, like the MCU and all of that. Because they're trying to insinuate that there's a binary gender in entertainment now. Now, I'm not saying there aren't stories that can skew more towards certain demographics. There absolutely can be. But that doesn't mean that just having a woman as the lead of something makes it a woman brand or a girl brand. But that's brain rot for you, right? That's brain rot. There's another one here, and this is from Geeks and Gamers. And it says here, Disney finally admits the truth. Again, using the headline from the article, says pathetic, face and hands, say the same thing he does with every one of his videos. And I posted here, more lies, Disney didn't admit to anything. The article got info from insiders and Disney refused to comment. That's it in the article. It literally says that Disney was reached out to and refused to comment. So Disney didn't admit anything. So all of this stuff, all of these videos are misrepresentations of the article, but the article knew that. That's kind of the point I'm getting at here. Variety knew this. Variety knew that this was what was going to happen. They wanted the clicks. So they put out an article, a nothing burger of an article. The article literally just talks about them trying to come up with new, more original IPs in general, and that Gen Z men are an audience they're looking at. But as I showed you in the article, it's no more urgent than any other group they're looking at. It's the same urgency for everybody. It's the same urgency. But let's go even further than that. Even if Gen Z was the group they were looking for, right? Say, for example, Gen Z men were who they wanted to bring in. And Star Wars we're using Star Wars as an example, right? Gen Z men, the ones that they would be courting at this point, would have been, if you're talking about like when they were born, I think it was like 97 is Gen Z. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like somewhere in the late 90s. The first thing they would have been introduced to, and we looked this up on stream, would have been Clone Wars. That would have been the first thing they were introduced to. They would have been slightly too young to see the early prequel stuff. They might have seen like the third one in theaters, but they would have been too young for the other ones. They would have been too young to even understand what they are. So if they watched them, they would have watched them on rerun with their parents or on DVD or something like that. But Clone Wars would have been the thing they would have watched as like their first introduction into the world of Star Wars. And Star Wars has ignored the Clone Wars in a lot of their media. They should be, if you want Gen Z men to tap in, or Gen Z people to tap in general, you should go to the material that they would have most likely been introduced to. And that would have been the Clone Wars era of Star Wars. A little bit about Marvel, right? A little bit about that. Even with all of the properties Marvel has done, all of them, they're still under 15% women-led. Okay, so calling it the MCU with less than 15% of women leading the projects is crazy. It's crazy. But they don't care about that because they're going to cherry pick and harp and focus on the stuff they want to talk about, focus on the negativity, because that's what gets them money. That's what gets them clicks. That's what gets them people coming back or whatever. They were salivating at this nothing burger hit piece article because they didn't have anything to talk about. And Variety gave it to them. And my advice to Disney is stop giving Variety concessions. If they want to be a gossip mag, if that's what they want to do, let them do it. Stop giving them concessions. Stop giving these outlets the time of day if they're going to just do this. This is irresponsible. It's shoddy journalism. It's clickbaity, sensational hit piece journalism in full display, 100%. It's like no fucks given by Variety by putting this out. Because even if the insiders are telling the truth, the framing of the article is negative, and it's done that way in order for this to happen. This is why. As I was reading it last night, we read pretty much the entire article on stream. You can go watch that on the Nerdcast. It's still available there. As we were reading through it, I was actually shocked, and all of the panelists were shocked, that the article even framed it this way because it didn't make sense to frame it this way because of what was in the article. We were shocked. Like, what the fuck? It really was like the ultimate shade being thrown at Marvel. All shade. 100% with the title. When Disney didn't comment, the insiders were not named, everything was sort of just kind of thrown together in this article. It really was kind of crazy to me. So you can go over and check that out. Definitely watch the Nerdcast last night. It's like a 3.5 hour stream, but I think an hour of it is dedicated to the article here that we talk about. We go in great detail with it. If you want to hear me talk in great detail, definitely check it out. I'll actually link the stream in this video, so you can click on it in the corner as we're wrapping this up. These guys are liars. They love clickbait. They love to talk about clickbait. It is their entire life. They love sensationalism. It's pathetic. Water cooler talk with the boys. Let's go to the water cooler and talk about Disney princesses and Star Wars. It's a great time for everybody. So fuck, these guys are stupid.